Hey guys, Kyle the Death Knight of Anime here, bringing you my late night review of One Piece chapter 907. And okay, this chapter was just so crazy. There's so much to fucking talk about, so I'm just gonna skip the whole freaking intro of it and just like get straight into this shit. So to start off, we start the chapter off with an intense note by giving us a conversation over transponders between Big Mom and Kaido of all people, which honestly, just in me saying that alone is epic enough. But their conversation does have a lot of little interesting nuggets to pick from. First and foremost, for me, being that what the fuck kind of debt does Kaido owe to Big Mom? Because it's got to be something enormous for her to feel confident enough to blackmail him in in order to step off of going after Luffy. But it's like blackmail him, and what makes this even more crazy is that it's like okay, she pretty much has she's pretty much holding this over Kaido's head, but in the previous arc she was basically she was pretty much just kind of complaining about the fact that with other giants she pretty much can't defeat Kaido. So like okay, is what I honestly want to say that does Big Mom even need the giants because whatever kind of debt she's basically holding over Kaido's head, it has to be enough leverage in order to defeat him or something. You'd think, but yeah, that shit is crazy enough. But even more than that, for me, but even more than that, honestly, like the one thing I think this chapter as a whole really did for me is that it really started putting a lot of pieces in place for the inevitable throne war that Doflamingo prophesized. And the beginning of this chapter just proved that to me, proved that to me that whether as Kaido's ally or as his enemy, Big Mom is going to be a major player in the war for One Piece, in the Throne Wars, like the war for One Piece and whatnot. Like, in fact, with the news of that the Reverie arc is probably going to be a very. In fact, one thing I forgot to mention, I guess I should have mentioned in the beginning, is that supposedly, from basically what we've heard from Ichiro Oda's editor, apparently the Throne War arc isn't going to be, or I'm sorry, the Reverie arc isn't going to be that big. Like it's going to be definitely one of the shorter setup arcs to be sure. So we're probably looking. I can't say for sure, but we're probably looking at the at the pacing of the. We're probably looking at in terms of manga. In terms of manga, we're probably looking at pacing equal to like the Zoe arc or something. Like the Reverie, I think at the end of the day is just kind of set up for like what for all the other crazy shit that's to come. So yeah, and for all the crazy shit that's to come. In fact, yeah, and the news, like I said, the news that the Reverie is only going to be very short, but the like the Zone makes me think that we're not, like I said, the fact that we're not too far off from the whole Zor makes me we're not too far off in terms of pacing from the Reverie arc being completed. Makes me think that like we're not too far off from the Throne Wars. And honestly, when you really look at how close that everything's being set up and how close we are to actually getting to these Throne Wars, it honestly makes me wonder like how much longer is One Piece going to go? How many more chapters do we have until its actual completion? Because I mean, of course, at the end of the day, it's all Oda. He's the one controlling the story and whatnot. But if I wanted to make a ballpark for myself here, I'd almost wager we only have like 200, 300 chapters of the story left, maybe. And that's me being optimistic. But like I said, Oda could very well be finishing up this arc very soon. So I guess we'll just have to wait and see. Or we're finishing up the story very soon, but I guess we'll just have to wait and see. Um, but and of course, being One Piece, that wasn't even like that wasn't even the tip of the iceberg either. Like the epicness didn't stop just with Big Mom and Kaido. Like that was just the beginning. There and the epicness continued when we switch over to the Marine Forces stationed at Marie Joie. And honestly, someone needs to tell Garp to shut his mouth and just stop talking because Oda could not have made that shit any more obvious. We know that whenever this man Garp says something, it's inevitably going to happen. And the idea of Roger's old crew returning in full force, minus Roger, is basically every One Piece fan's wet dream. Like, we've been clamoring at the bit in order to see every single one of Roger's old crewmates. Like we've definitely gotten a little. We've definitely gotten introduced to of course Rayleigh in this one, and we got introduced to Crocus as well. But it's like, yeah, there are so many more other members of the Roger Pirates we haven't even met yet. So this is gonna and we know it is and we know that it isn't just that Garp's comment. That shit isn't just a throwaway line. It's really gonna happen. Like we're actually gonna see them. We're actually gonna see every single one of the Roger Pirates pretty much together again, a reunion of the Roger Pirates, and I think it goes without saying too that I think it's safe to say that Rayleigh is the mastermind behind this legendary reunion, because he was Roger's second in command. So it's like, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. What more can I say? It's actually gonna happen, guys. We're gonna get the fucking Roger Pirates. Like, and although it will be interesting to see as to what particular part they're going to play in this, in basically in the story to come, because of course they're going to be on Luffy's side, but is that all they're going to be, or what? Or are they going to be more with Shanks? Because are we going to be more with Shanks or with Dragon, or what's? Yeah, I'm just definitely curious about what the Roger Pirates' role in this particular part of the story is going to be exactly. And alright, so let's address the end of this chapter with Shanks wanting to talk about a certain pirate of the Elder Stars. And I've seen a couple of theories, and after the last chapter, I've seen a couple of theories that discuss the possibility of that little guy we saw at the end of last chapter looking at the big straw hat possibly being Joy Boy. And while the jury is still very much on, the jury is still very much out on whether that guy himself is Joy Boy, I think it is fair to say that the person Shanks wants to discuss with the Elder Stars is Joy Boy. Whether or not the person we saw in the last chapter is Joy Boy or not, but I think Joy Boy is starting to take center stage now. And whoever or whatever he is, I think we definitely are at the point of finding out. And it's a guarantee at this point. And it's guaranteed to be intense at this point. Especially with the way Oda has been building up this guy behind the scenes of the story. And actually, the more I think about it and looking back on the story of One Piece as a whole, Joy Boy is essentially the One Piece version of Jiro from Jiro from Hunter x Hunter. He's basically this guy who's always been in the shadows, but we know that but we know of his incredible reputation, and of what an incredible reputation he has. And if I had to guess, I'd say that he probably is probably one of the other people, the other being the Roger Pirates, who've actually discovered the secrets of the world. Like, Joy Boy is probably that much of a danger to the world government. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if Joy Boy actually discovered the whole secrets of the world and what happened. And it's like, yeah, and Shanks probably wants to discuss him now because the secrets of the world are going to come out now, especially in this arc. So yeah, and okay, now let's talk about Stelly and Charlos. Because honestly, in this chapter, I'm not sure who the bigger crustfuck was. Either Stelly for drooling over the empty throne of the world government, or Charlos for trying to once again capture a mermaid. Shirahoshi, no less. I mean, were both of these idiots dropped as children? Because you have to. Because I'm having a hard. It's so hard for me looking at these two numbskulls to imagine the idea of people this retardedly stupid existing. But I guess they do. We gotta deal with them. Like, seriously. Stelly, Charles, what the fuck? Although, to balance out that stupidity, we also get reintroduced to Lucci and Stussy as members of CP0, as well as official confirmation that Kaku has joined CP0 as well. But now this has gotten me curious and almost afraid to learn what happened to the rest of the CP9 members, because, like, as fucked up as it sounds, as fucked as it sounds, especially after the little side story we got of CP9, my theory right now is that Lucci and Kaku basically turned in their former comrades in exchange for being granted positions within CP0. Like, I know it's fucked up, but it's definitely it would be within Lucci's character. I don't know about Kaku, but it would definitely be within Lucci's character to definitely do that. Like, the dude is basic. The dude basically lost everything in the Ennis Lobby incident, so he's like, here, we'll basically turn in our former. I wouldn't be surprised if he's like, yeah, here, we'll turn in our former comrades, and you grant me power back, the power I need to, in order to hunt down Luffy and criminals again. So, yeah, fucked up, but I wouldn't be surprised if that was the case. And so we also get introduced to. I think it would be the celestial dragon Otohime met on Fishman Island. I think it's Miosgard. Yeah, Miosgard. We get introduced to Miosgard, the celestial dragon Otohime met on Fishman Island arc, and he didn't even. And honestly, it was just his introduction was enough for me to pretty much get a good read on this guy's current situation. Like, he didn't even need for me to say anything for me to know how much Otohime changed him. I mean, not only are his clothes a little disheveled, but the man didn't even bother to wear a fucking bubble around his head. The one significant trait that all celestial dragons have to show how superior they see themselves compared to normal people. But this guy doesn't do that. He basically says, look, although he may change me, I'm human now. I may have the title of Celestial Dragon, but I'm full-blooded human. I've come to accept I'm not a god. So this also does open up a very interesting contradiction, which is that this is starting to showcase that another something very important that Doflamingo predicted, which is the world nobles being dragged down off their heavenly thrones and down to earth, which honestly I wouldn't be surprised if Miosgard is basically one of the deciding factors of that, because he's not really doing like the typical celestial dragon stuff. He's basically a normal human. He's basically considered a normal human now, and just seeing him take out Charlos was just so amazing. But yeah, Miosgard's current it is definitely a significant change and definitely foreshadowing for what's to come for the Celestial Dragons in the future. But if that wasn't enough already, we also learned that apparently Miosgard is a member of the Don Quixote family. I'm not even sure where to go off of that one, to be honest with you. Like, the only current theory I have about that one is that he's Doflamingo's cousin or long lost brother or something. I want to say cousin though, because even with the way Miosgard looks, he still looks too young to be anything else. But I'm reserving any more judgment until Oda reveals more about about more. But other than that, like, it's possible Mioscar could also be the assassin who's basically looking to assassin who's looking to take out Doflamingo. And like, if that's the case, then this opens up the possibility of him being like him having this whole thing where he wants to change the whole system of the celestial dragons, even if it means killing them all. That would be insane. But yeah, guys, that's kind of all I got for this very lengthy review of One Piece chapter 907. Just tell me what you thought about it. Just if you enjoyed the video, like, comment, subscribe. Follow me on Twitter and Facebook. Death Knight of Anime, signing off. Later, guys.